What are the 10 things we learned about college football this past weekend? Stay tuned and I'll tell you. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Kuz's Corner, the new go-to channel for sports with a heavy dose of West Virginia Mountaineers. Today, I want to talk about 10 things that we can take away from this first weekend of college football. 10 things that we learned. But before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to a couple of my subscribers, Bruce F. and Jim Williams. I appreciate your support. I appreciate both of you for subscribing to my channel. The number one thing that I took away from this weekend, Alabama is still Alabama. They had a dominant win against a ranked Miami team who everyone expects to be good this year, and they look great on both sides of the ball. Number two, Georgia appears to be still the only team in the SEC and probably the entire country that can compete with Alabama right now. Their defense dominated against Clemson's offense, and they were just getting to Clemson's quarterback pretty much at will anytime they wanted to. Which leads me to number three, Clemson. Their O-line looked suspect in that game. Is that cause for concern for Clemson? Are they going to struggle some this year? Or was Georgia's defensive line just that good? Now, I personally still think that Clemson is still the best team in the ACC. But I tell you, after watching that Notre Dame-Florida State game last night, I think Florida State may give them a run for their money this year. Florida State looks like they might be back. Number four, Ohio State is still, Ohio State. And that wide receiver that Ohio State have, I think his last name's Olave. That guy, he's got to be the best receiver in college football. It seems like every time I turn on my TV and there's an Ohio State game on, that guy's streaking down the field for a touchdown. I mean, it seems like every time I watch him play, it's the first thing I see, and it happens frequently. So Ohio State's still going to be one of the teams to beat this year. Number five, Texas may actually be back. Nah, still horns down for me. Who cares? Number six, the remaining 8 schools in the Big 12 Conference are much better than people think. They posted a 7-1 out-of-conference record over the weekend, with the biggest win, a Kansas State win, over Stanford. Deuce Vaughn looks like the real deal. The sophomore had 13 carries for 124 yards and a touchdown. Now, that win looks good, but it doesn't look as impressive as it should have. And the reason is number 7. The Pac-12 is not very good and could be the weakest Power 5 conference this season. They had a mediocre 7-6 out-of-conference record over the weekend. 4 of those losses were to non-Power 5 schools, including Washington's 13-7 loss to an FCS school, Montana. The Pac-12's only saving grace, UCLA, who I'll get to in a minute. Number 8, Nebraska's large margin of victory over their opponent, Fordham, another FCS school, did not redeem them from their loss to Illinois in week 0. Why, do you ask? Well, Fordham is an FCS school, number 1. And number 2, Illinois turned around and got beat by University of Texas San Antonio, who's a Conference USA school. So Illinois still doesn't look like they're very good, and they pretty much destroyed Nebraska. So that might be the only game Nebraska wins this year is against Fordham. Number 9, the SEC is still the best conference in the country. They only lost 2 non-conference games over the weekend. One of those was Vanderbilt losing to an FCS opponent in East Tennessee State. But hey, it's Vanderbilt. No disrespect to any listeners from Vanderbilt, any viewers from Vanderbilt, but let's face it, Vanderbilt is not known to be a football powerhouse. So no big surprise that Vandy lost, right? And then the other loss the SEC suffered was LSU's loss to UCLA, which was an upset. But that takes me into number 10. And that is that Chip Kelly can still coach. He has UCLA at 2-0 right now this season after beating LSU in the Rose Bowl. Chip is at year 4 at UCLA, and after 3 straight losing seasons and 5 overall for the program, looks like he's finally got him back on the winning track. which is, in my opinion, good for college football. And congrats to Chip Kelly for the work he's done to get that program back to where they are. So to summarize, first weekend of the 2021 college football season. More of the same. The Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Georgias of the world are still a rung above everybody else on the ladder. And those three will probably be in the college football playoff at the end of the season. And the other entrant will likely either be Oklahoma, who did come close to losing a game against Tulane. But Oklahoma usually has one dud, during the season, where they either come close to losing or lose. Or Clemson, who, like I said, even though they lost to Georgia and got dominated, I still think Clemson is a great football team. At the end of the day, it was still good to see fans back in the stands at college football stadiums again. Made the world feel a little bit normal, and it's really cool to see. I'm hoping that fans can that we'll still see stadiums at capacity the rest of the season, because man, it just feels right. Look, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what you think of the opening weekend of the season. Let me know what teams or players stood out to you that may or may not be on my list. Until next time, peace out.